Well, hey everyone, this is Grace of gbmaltese, and I thought I'd do a little whip and chat with you. I have almost finished my Wells of Salvation. That is the one I was working on the last time, which is this. And all I have left is a little bit of black in this area, and then this little bitty section right here. So, I will be done with this very soon, and I'll be able to show you the finished piece. But I'm going to work on this a little bit and chat with you. It has been hot. It's been hot here. We've had a lot of humidity. So, they said we might get some thunderstorms this afternoon. I guess we shall see. This is Wednesday, July the 5th. And let me tell you, we had some, we live outside the city limits of my small little town. And we had quite a few people enjoying their fireworks. All weekend, Monday night, and yesterday. Yeah, they were doing some yesterday afternoon and into the night. I guess Saturday night for sure. They were going on till about 1 or 2 in the morning, just off and on. I'm like, where are you getting all of these darn fireworks, for Pete's sakes? It was just, luckily in the bedroom you couldn't hear it, but when I was sitting here in my craft room, because I decided to stay up a little later, I wanted to work on this. And it was just, and my dogs, I mean, if you have animals, you know, most of them are terrified of fireworks. Well, my little Bogey, he's my Yorkie poo, it doesn't bother him too much, but my little Yorkshire Terrier, she's terrified. She is shaking all over. And then I have Oliver. He's a Heinz 57 mix. He's came up and adopted us. He gets a little bit nervous. It depends on how loud it is and close it gets. So, yeah, I'm just thinking to myself, could you please shut it up, shut it up. I wanted to go out there and spray him with a water hose or something. But we made it through. We did. While I was working in my craft room, I had, Bogey's always in here with me. He's laying over there on the couch. He's sleeping. Oh, I forgot to turn the air conditioner off again. Let me do that. That was so kind of you. So many of you told me that the noise didn't bother you, but I just want to make sure that those that it might bother, that I tend to your needs also. I turned it on to cool it down in here a little bit before I got started. I end up turning it off and on while I'm in here, because I'll get cool after it's been blowing on me for a while. But then when I get on here, it's just like everything flies out of my mind. Can't think of anything. Just getting on here and talking to you, my sweet friends. Well, I think of all of you as my friends, because I'm talking to you, and hopefully you're listening, enjoying, just having a little bit of a tete-a-tete, or whatever you might want to call it. So you can do whatever craft or whatever you want to be doing while I'm talking. Because you can watch. I get very relaxed watching people diamond paint. I can just sit there and it makes me feel very relaxed and sometimes very sleepy. I've had people in the past tell me that my voice relaxed them, and sometimes they would listen to it while they were going to sleep. It helped them sleep. But that's fine. Whatever floats your boat. And that's one reason I like to do stories, which I haven't done one in months. And I keep telling you I'm going to, and I am. I just keep forgetting to go and look through I have several fairy tale books, and I read through them to see which one I find to be more interesting and maybe that you might like. Now, be sure and watch my next video. I plan on putting it up hopefully tomorrow, Thursday, July 6th. If not then it'll be Friday. Because I've got something new to show you. And I love it. I cannot wait for you to see it. So, tune in. And I'm going to try to get my little self up here on this making more videos. I do not know. Well, I'll tell you what happens. When you get out of the habit of doing videos, it's almost like starting all over again. For one thing, you don't think about it. You get busy doing something else, and then when you get on here, you're like, oh, I hope I'm not boring people. You know, what am I going to talk about? And are they going to get bored with this? And I figure I'll just do some things that, you know, I enjoy doing, and maybe you'll enjoy watching something new. A lot of people, well, I don't know if a lot of people, but I know some people are doing Christmas in July events. And I thought I would do kind of a Christmas in July thing. I have a crochet Christmas tree that I have not put together. And I made it back in December, I guess, but I haven't put it together. I made 2 other ones that I finished and sent off to a couple of people. And they really liked them. And I can't show you how to make it because it is a paid-for pattern, but I can show you how to put it together. So those of you who might be interested in, it's not my pattern, so as I said, I can't show it to you. But if you're interested in maybe purchasing it, it is just the cutest Christmas tree. It is so cute. And as I was talking about it before, it can be used for more than a Christmas tree. It just depends on what colors you do your tree in. If you want to do a Halloween tree, you could do it in orange with black trim or black with orange trim. And when I show you the tree and putting it together, you'll see more what I'm talking about, because you can change things up on it. So anyway, did anyone do anything special over the holiday weekend? We didn't really do much. It's just, as I said, it's hot here. It's not pleasant being outside. But my husband, bless his little heart, he gets something on his mind that he thinks he needs to do, and he's going to do it, come hell or high water. We have a tree in the backyard, and part of it is dead. Maybe the top half, one half, there are no leaves. And one part of it kind of angled over the house. So he's been saying, I need to cut that big limb off. So I'm telling, it's too hot for you to get out there and be doing that. And then he sees that we may be having thunderstorms, and once he's got his mind that he needs to do something, as I said, he's going to do it. So yesterday, which was the 4th of July, I got up, and he was already outside. He gets up early. He may be up at 5:30. I did that all my years of teaching school, and I'm like, I'm not going to be on a schedule anymore. I'm going to go to bed when I want and get up when I want. So I'm looking for him, and I'm thinking, I bet he's out there messing with that tree. And yes, he was. He had probably, I'm not sure if it's our tallest ladder. I think it's one that has 2 sides to it. I think that's our tallest one. 22 foot tall, okay? Well, thank God, you have your top tier. At least he wasn't standing on the very top, because If he'd fallen, yeah, he'd have either been dead or injured severely. But he's on the second to the top rung, so he can have his knees pressed up against that top. And he looks so little standing up there because that tree is huge. It's a red maple, and it was one we planted after my dad died, and we were staying here taking care of my mom. She said she'd always wanted a red maple, so we planted it. So it's been there a very long time. My mom passed in 2009, and he planted it a few years before that, and she was so happy with it. So when we had that really bad freeze, it killed part of the tree. Part of it didn't come back. So there he is up there, kind of on the ladder, kind of leaning against that tree. He looks so little up there. And we had like a tree limb trimmer, and it's real long, and the pole telescopes out. So he had it pulled all the way out there, and he's got that, I mean, he's got strong arms to be able to hold that out there. And he would saw. Then he'd come down, and he had thrown a rope over it. I don't know, he did it before I got out there. I was thinking, did you climb that? He said, no, I didn't climb it. I got it thrown over. No telling how many times it took for him to get it, and then attached. So he comes down, and he's pulling on the rope to see if the tree limb's ready to break off. No, it's not. So I stand there and hold the rope because I decided I'm standing out there in case anything happens. So he gets out there and he saws some more. And he comes back down thinking, okay, I think I might have, he said, it's over halfway through. So he pulls again. And still nothing. So he gets back up there again. And saws it some more. Then he comes back down, gets the rope, and I'm standing behind him because he's telling me, now kind of get back because we didn't know, this is a huge branch. We didn't know where it was going to go. That you could hear cracking, and it went boom on the ground. It scared me. I'm like, whoa. But he got it angled where it didn't fall on the house, thank the Lord. And then I helped him get rid of some of the smaller branches. That big one, that thing is too heavy for me. I told him, I said, just leave it for now. It's getting hotter, and the humidity. We were both pouring sweat at this time. Even me just standing there, just holding a rope. Just pouring sweat, and then carrying some of the limbs. The humidity is disgusting out here. I'm in Texas, if you didn't know, and the humidity was gross. So anyway, I said, just leave that. It's too hot to mess with it. So he did. He pulled it out of the way so it would be out of the way of walking around in the yard. So that was our fun time. That was our big firework. And afterwards, we drove to Dairy Queen and got us some dip cones. We felt like we deserved it. I love me some dip cones. They had chocolate and they had churro. And my husband says, what's churro? And I said, Jerry, that's a cinnamon flavor. He goes, ooh, I think I want to try that. And I said, well, I want my chocolate. You ain't taking my chocolate away. So he really enjoyed it. Then we went home and we just kind of sat in the house trying to cool down. And we both kind of fell asleep, nodded off. I think that heat took it out of us more than anything. And then we watched a couple of movies. So we just kind of relaxed the rest of the day. So did any of you have anything special that you did? That was our special day. If you want to call it special. But we got to be together, so that was the best part, was that he got to be at home, because he doesn't get off very many holidays. It's very seldom. Like at Christmas, one day. He gets Christmas Day off. And last year, it was on a Sunday, so he didn't get any time off. They did not give him a day off at Christmas. For New Year's, they gave him, because it was also on a Monday. New Year's Day was on a Monday. I think on Friday they let him leave at noon, or it might have been a little bit later. I'm like, whoop-de-doo-dah day. Ha-ha, that's so nice of him. But this year, Christmas will be, I think it's on a Monday. Because we didn't have leap year this year, I don't think. I don't know. I don't keep up with the calendar as much since I'm not teaching school now. Back then, you know, it was get up, go. You got to know what day it is, because I certainly don't want to be heading over there on a weekend. Using the date, the day, and the date. I always put the date on the board, so I always know what date it is. Nowadays, I sometimes have to look at my telephone to see what the date is. I know what day it is. I just sometimes don't remember the date. But at least it'll be a shorter week for him. He will get off. And I'm ready for some cooler weather. But we're in July. We've been in the 100-degree temps. But the feel like is like 115, 120. I've told you that before. It's just gross. And I know some of you are dealing with those same kind of temperatures. But day after day after day, you're going, I need a break. I need a break. I'm lucky that I was able to retire and don't have to get out there in it, because you think, oh, teaching school, you don't have to do that. Yeah, well, we had recess duty, and sometimes we had lunch duty, and you had to go outside. And those kids, they don't care what the temperature is. They can handle it, evidently. So, or you might have car duty, which is outside in the afternoon is the worst time. It's hot out there. And now, I mean, at one time, remember back in the day when we didn't start school back until after Labor Day? Well, they've been starting back to going to school. It's been in August now for years, because I've had to start back in August many times. And it's hot that time of year. You're thinking, man, you know. But we are inside most of the time. The only bad thing, sometimes the air conditioner would go out. And in the new school buildings, you know, they built so smart and everything. No windows, or else you have a window that's, you know, a little stamp size. And you're dying in there. If the air conditioner's going to be out for very long, you're just going to have to call school off. You can't. Well, electricity off, you're sitting there in the dark, and it's not pleasant. But when it's just the air conditioner out, it gets hotter in there than it does outside. So a lot of times I take the kids outside and we go find us some shade somewhere and be out there. I said, look, we're not even going to try to do. It was too hot. When you're that hot, you can't think to do a bunch of work. So I might read to them or do something else. It's just too hot. I mean, your brain just kind of malfunctions. Mine kind of does. When it gets too hot, you're just like, I can't think. You got. So, yeah. You know, we all have been through that. But when I remember when I was in elementary school, we had huge windows that covered a whole wall. And you could open the windows up and you would get some breeze in there. So it wasn't as bad. But nowadays, oh honey, let me tell you, You can see how pretty this looks. Look at the shine. It's beautiful. Anyway, continuing on. I remember being, they'd open the windows up. And, of course, I always kept a fan up there. Just in case it went out, I'd have a couple of fans. And it did help. As long as it wasn't out for too long. It's just not right to keep anyone in a place that's not air conditioned and you don't have fresh air coming in. That is inhumane and just not right. And if you work in a place like that, I am so sorry. That's just not right. That they should be turned in for endangerment of your life. When it's hot, hot, humid, and you're not getting much of any kind of breeze. Whew. Tell you what, it's no fun. Oh, the other day, I'm sorry, I was thinking about when I was doing my student teaching. I remember they asked me if I would go and watch a class. I was just talking away about doing my student teaching and being asked to go watch a classroom when I didn't notice my phone had it stops after usually 20 something minutes, and I didn't notice. I was so busy yapping my jaws I didn't notice. Okay, anyway, I was asked to go into this classroom and I was to show a film. Well, back in the day when I was doing my student teaching, that was a long time ago, okay? And we had those movie projectors, and it had the reels. You had one big one, you had another one, and they turned and fed onto the other reel. So I had the reels, they were already threaded through and everything, and I went to turn the thing on. And I do not know what I touched, what I did, but when I touched something, it shocked me. I mean, it was a good shock. And I thought, I remember, I'm not sure if it came out loud or if I did it in my mind. I'm like, damn, it hurt. Because you cannot curse in front of the kids. Nobody said anything, so I'm guessing I must have done it in my mind. I don't know for sure. But I, to this day, can still feel the pain of that shock from that movie projector. Oh boy, how times have changed. Now everything is on computer, you stream things, it's just so different. So, yeah, that was a treat. I learned a little bit about electronics that day. I turned my air conditioner back on because I had to go back and re-listen to my whole thing to see where I left off. And while I was doing that, I was cooling the room back down again. And I kept thinking, don't forget to turn the air conditioner off when you get back on. Well, at least it wasn't for too long. So, I tell you what, if you're a teacher and you've gone through student teaching, that is quite the entertainment for I don't know who all. I loved my student teaching time. I've talked about it a little before. I did my student teaching with who would at one time become my sister-in-law. She and my brother Daryl married. They had 3 children together, and they got divorced, which really hurt me. Because I talk to Melissa this day. We're still very good friends. Daryl, those of you who've been with him for a long time know he passed away on Christmas Eve of 2019, and I miss him so much. But anyway, I had such a good time with my student teaching. We laughed so much. I learned so much from Melissa. I'll never forget. This is something I never forgot in all my days of teaching. I was up there and we were going to do some spelling. And I told everyone, okay, take out your spelling books and turn to page, whatever, 55. And before the kids had finished getting their books out, I'm already talking about what's on the page. And Melissa, she didn't say anything at the time. Afterwards, she said, next time, she said, you might want to wait until everybody's turned to the page before you start. She always did things in such a sweet and kind way, and I never forgot that. I always waited. I would walk around the room and make sure everyone was on the right page, because let me tell you, just because you tell people to turn to page 56, they might be on page 46, 32, or they didn't open it at all. So yeah, it's a good thing. Or sometimes I say, check and see if your neighbor's on the right page. And most of the kids loved to see if their neighbor was on the right page. I did my student teaching with 4th graders, and I loved it. I loved it. We had such a good time. So if you're a teacher and you're teaching now, or if you're retired now, how was your student teaching experience? Mine was fantastic. We became such good friends and have remained friends, and her children, something very, very sadly, this past Friday, and I guess that's one of the reasons I didn't much feel like doing a video, is last Friday was the year anniversary that Daryl and Melissa's oldest son, Travis, passed away. They did an autopsy and they were not sure. It was inconclusive on what happened. He was at a friend's house, and that friend had gone to work, and when they got back, he had passed away. They did, like I said, they did an autopsy. They didn't find anything suspicious. They just said it was inconclusive. Now, he did have very bad seizures. They don't know, because it could have been a seizure. Heart disease also ran. Now, my brother Daryl didn't have a heart problem, but my brother Greg, who is still living, thank the Lord, and he had his first heart attack at, I believe it was 38 or 39, and they were able to treat him with medication. 10 years later, he had another one. This time, they were going to do a stent, but it was so stopped up, they ended up doing a bypass on him. And both of my brothers had a different father than I did. And my mom was a widow when my dad met her. Her first husband died of a heart attack at age 30, 32, somewhere around that age. She said his first heart attack was at 25. So we don't know if maybe that's what happened. But, and another thing happened on Thursday that was very hard and upsetting. My Melissa's daughter, Darlissa was Daryl and Melissa's first child, and they combined their names together to come up with Darlissa. I thought that was so cute. Well, anyway, Darlissa has a 6-year-old little girl, and she was in the car going somewhere with her daddy, and she was sitting in her car seat. You know, you have to be a certain weight before you're able to get out of those booster seats or whatever it was. And she slumped forward and had a seizure. Now, what is so scary about that is that my brother Daryl, he had a few seizures. Well, the first seizure that I remember was when Darlissa was being born. He was in there while Melissa is trying to have the baby, and he falls out and has a seizure. So they're having to tend to him while Melissa's over there trying to, she ended up having a C-section, but it was awful. And then Travis, the one I was just telling you about, he died at the age of 35. He had started having seizures, and I'm not sure how old he was when he had his first seizure. But then Daryl had remarried, and he has another son. Daryl died when that son was 17 years old. And when he was 18 and he was taking his college entrance exam, he fell out on the floor and had a seizure. And they have him on medication, and they've had to up it a couple of times. Well, now that Darlissa's little girl, that's only 6, had a seizure, it's just scary. And there may be some of you out there that may have had seizures since you were a child. Like I said, I'm not sure how old Travis was when he had his first seizure. I know Connor was 18, and then here's a sweet little baby girl, 6 years old. So if you know anything about that, they took her to the hospital. This is what really got to me. Melissa texted me to tell me about the seizure, and I was waiting to hear news of what they were going to do at the hospital. Well, the hospital decided they were just going to send her home. And I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't they go ahead and do brain scans at the, because she just had the seizure. Why wouldn't they check the activity of what was going on not long after she'd had the seizure? But they didn't. They did send her home. But they got her in, they said to come back in 3 to 5 days. Well, I tell you one thing, my niece and her husband weren't going to put up with that. They got an appointment with a doctor to get brain testing done last Friday. And I haven't heard anything back from the results yet. Of course, we've had the 4th of July, so things were closed. But just waiting to hear. We're hoping and praying that it's maybe just a one-time thing. She's very healthy. I mean, she's a little girl that she gets up and just keeps on going. She's a tough girl. They had a rodeo back in, I don't know what month it was. It hadn't been that real long ago that they did a rodeo, and Darlissa rode one of the sheep. They had it for the kids. And they get on the back of the sheep. There's nothing, no saddle, they just hold on to their wool. And she was with her little boots on and her cowboy outfit. And that girl was hanging on, trying to hold with her legs. She did end up falling off. They have a helmet on, and there are people out there to run and get them as soon as they fall. She's not scared of things. She went and did the brain test, just like a brave girl. So just, if you pray or whatever, would you say some prayers for my dear Addie? Send positive things her way. She's a sweetheart, and she's their only child. They've tried to have more, but it's not, that's a whole another story. They're not able to. So anyway, I think that's probably one of the main reasons I didn't ever get back on. And I had told you about my back the last time I was on here, and I was back, started doing my exercises. Well, I just went gun-ho on the exercising, and I made it worse there for a little while. And I'm like, okay, Grace, you're gonna have to take it easy on there. So I rested my back a couple of days and started gently going back and doing the exercises. But I got to tell you about one of the exercises I do. Jerry, my husband, decided he wanted to start doing exercises. He does harder things than me. He does his push-ups and leg lifts, where you put your feet like 4 inches above the ground and do this. Yeah, I can do about 2 of those. Hey, at least I did 2. Well, one of the things that we did was I said, I wanted him to, I put my feet straight, my legs straight out, and my feet up, okay? There's up in the air. And Jerry leans on my feet, and he holds on to my feet, legs, whatever. And I kind of bench press him. Well, Jerry, he's a little trickster. So he pushes his weight. He pushes down harder. So I'm going, Jerry, I can't get you up. You can't do that to me. I'm not ready for that yet. And he's just, so he normally lets me, you know, do it, and it's very nice. And then I'll do it for him, lean on his legs, but I can't do that heavy pushing like he does on me. But I'm going to tell you something. Doing that and some of the other exercises I do, I try to do more gently and quit doing some of the others. And I'm going to tell you, I am finally can say that I haven't had pain that has been bad enough to have to take any pain medication now for several days. So that is good news from my side. Excuse me. I do hear thunder in the background, so I guess I better get off. I'm going to see if I can get this thing uploaded and get it onto. I've got to piece it together and all that fun stuff. And I hope that you will come see me the next time. Love you guys. Hope you're doing finer than frog's hair. And you take care of yourself. God bless you. And I'll see you next time. It won't be too long. Bye. Whoops. There you are. And there's my beautiful.